And good morning, or afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are in the world. I'm just glad you're here on the channel talking pro wrestling with the Amplified Man. Now I know what you're thinking. Don't adjust your television sets, your monitors, your phones. You're thinking, BC, AEW won the ratings last week. Shouldn't you be going over AEW? Well, yes, that's the rule that I have on the channel. However, full disclosure, I didn't catch the last half an hour of AEW Dynamite in its entirety. And you guys know, I don't half-ass things on this channel, and you guys deserve the best possible review that I can give to you. So I need to watch that entire show, top to bottom, beginning to end, start to finish. Now, I know what happened, obviously, that last half an hour, but I need to see it, sometimes 2 to 3 times. Again, it's only fair to you guys and myself. So don't worry, in just a few hours, that AEW review will be on the channel. You should be subscribed and notified anyway, and the channel will tell you when that video is on. But don't worry, AEW's review will be up in just a few hours. I just want to make sure I have all my facts in order. So, in the meantime, I'm going to give you guys and hit you guys with the NXT review. And before we even jump into the NXT review from the very beginning, right from the jump, I need to speak about an NXT women's roster that is absolutely on fire right now. I need to speak about an NXT women's roster, or screw that. Let's talk about a women's roster in general that is absolutely captivating. From the very bottom all the way to the top. Because we all have our favorite brands and organizations in pro wrestling, but very few can claim they have a women's roster that is stacked. But that's what NXT's women's roster is right now. It is stacked for the first time in a long time. And I didn't think I was ever going to be able to say this. But for the first time, we have a women's roster that is in the class of the Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks class from years ago. Yeah, when they all graduated, it's more of a demotion these days, but when they went to the main roster, we all thought we'd never see a women's division like that ever again. And who followed had the capability. That was Asuka and Ember Moon's class. You guys remember that? That was the class that also had Ruby Riott, Nikki Cross. That was a stacked roster. They just never seemed to click on all cylinders. They were never on the same page at all the same time. So for some reason, that never lived up to what it could have been. We had epic matches at takeovers, no doubt. Some great storylines. But at the same time, the entire roster never clicked. Like the Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte class before them. So it had us thinking, if the Ember Moon and Asuka class, as a whole unit, as a whole roster, couldn't quite live up to the Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte class, then are we ever gonna see a roster that does such? Well, we have hit that time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We have hit that time. Because last night it dawned on me. I already saw this happening gradually, but last night it dawned on me, there's no more gradually going on. It's happened. We have a roster. We have a women's roster that is absolutely in that Sasha Bayley Charlotte class. When you look at what we saw in that Battle Royal and who was in there, and you tell me that roster's not stacked, I say you're only fooling yourself, not the Amplified Man. You look at Io Shirai and Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley. Hell, you could even look at Mia Yim, Bianca Belair. You look at Toni Storm on the horizon, Kaylee Ray, who's waiting to make a smash here in the States way more than she has, but repping that UK brand to the fullest. You look at Martinez that just debuted. More to come from her. Age or not, she still's got it. Casey just returned, making a splash already. I can go on and on. The Candice LeRae continues to grow and develop, and character-wise is going to come into her own just like Tegan Nox. And don't get me started on my Dakota Kai. You know I love my Dakota. This roster is stacked. You look at who was supposed to be a jobber, someone like Kaden Carter, who's probably within the next 6 months going to be a freaking star. Do I really go on and on? 'Cause I can. I could not be any more impressed with this women's roster over in NXT, but something tells me they're going to make me more impressed as the weeks go on and the months go on. I cannot speak more highly of what I saw in that Battle Royal last night and what I have been seeing from War Games a month or two ago, a couple months ago. What was that, November? Man, what they delivered. They stole the show at War Games. But even way before that, you can start tracing this happening long ago. 2019, you saw this happening, and here we are, the beginning of 2020. And guys, the time for talk is done. This is the class. This is the best, easily the best women's roster in professional wrestling. And don't hit me with all that Japan shit, because I understand. I followed Japan and all of their superstars, and they're immaculate. But when you talk about a roster that is rolling on all cylinders, all on the same page at the same time, that's almost impossible. Trust me. I've seen every brand. I've seen them at every different era. It's almost impossible to get. It's lightning in a bottle. It's magic. But it's happened. And it's happened with this roster. And you take any members of this roster and you put them in a matchup, a one-on-one, a tag team matchup. You could even put them in a schmaz match. 6-person, 8-person, and it's going to deliver tenfold because they're just clicking. And they all have a chance to be something even more special than they already are. When Mia Yim and Bianca Belair hit the scene and everybody was going, they're going to be superstars, I had my reservations. The Amplified Man was like, what are you talking about? Mia Yim and Bianca Belair? Seriously? I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. Because I saw that they had a lot of work to still do. There was a lot of improvements that they needed. There was a lot of holes in their game, but here we are just months later and they are developing at a rapid rate. They're impressing and improving almost on the daily. Screw almost. By the minute. Now I'm looking at Mia Yim and Bianca Belair and I'm like, it's not a matter of if they're going to be superstars. It's how big of a superstar are they going to be. Unless Vince McMahon does get his hands on them. That's another story. But if you watched that Battle Royal last night and you weren't impressed, you didn't have that pulse going, man, you weren't excited for what you were watching and so happy and glad and proud of that roster and what we are getting and what they are putting out there for themselves and for us. If you weren't excited for that, man, I don't know what to tell you. Because it doesn't get better than that. Women's wrestling-wise, AEW could only hope to have a fraction of that type of a roster. AEW's over there struggling in the waters with their women's roster. The main roster over in WWE has so much potential, and that just turned into the abyss. More irrelevancy in the women's division on the main roster than I ever thought possible. And it's a damn shame. Anyway, that's my opening monologue. I'm going to talk much more about that in the main event because that was a huge battle royal to get the #1 contender for Rhea Ripley's championship next week. But we have to start from the jump, guys. There was a lot of show here, and the first hour was dedicated to two main storylines. Tommaso Ciampa and his little feud there, or big feud with Undisputed Era, and the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament. That was the whole first hour. So let's go over it if I may. We open up with Keith Lee on the mic, middle of the ring. And this is exactly what needed to happen for Lee. Because we know what he can do in the middle of the ring. We need to see all the different layers and dimensions that Keith Lee has. Put him on the mic, and let's see that personality. We know he's a fun dude. We know he's cool as hell. But we need to really see what he has character/personality-wise on that microphone. What can he really deliver storyline-wise when it matters the most and he's got the stick in his hand? So that's exactly what I liked to see last night, him on the mic. Unfortunately, it was very short-lived as the Undisputed Era ended up coming down to the ring. They wasted no time. They took Lee out. Lee needed somebody to save him. Who could it be? Tommaso Ciampa comes down to the ring, clears house, and the Undisputed Era retreats. So, I like this. It opens up a lot here. Obviously, you're developing Keith Lee even more because the company does see something in him. So let's add some dynamics to him. But you're furthering Tommaso and Adam Cole. And how do you do that? You include the entire Undisputed Era. Make them, if that's your legitimate dominant faction, you get them going right from the jump. And that would not be the last time you saw Tommaso or the Undisputed Era last night. In fact, a few segments later, they'd be going at it again. We'll talk about that in a second. But that was the opening of NXT last night. So really cool. Now you're thinking, okay, let's get to some action now, right? Oh, we're going to give you some action because the first matchup of the night was the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament. Say that 10 times fast. First round matchup, Dunn and Riddle versus Andrews and Webster. Now I know on the forefront you're thinking, Dunn and Riddle is such an odd couple. But if you see these two together, it just fits. It works. I like it. And Andrews and Webster, where do I even start with these two? Andrews and Webster, that was their calling card last night. There was a lot of fans going into this tournament that don't even know a lot about Andrews and Webster. But after last night's match, they were absolutely on your radar. Because Andrews and Webster showed you exactly what they could do in that ring and what they're willing to do. Now back to Dunn and Riddle, however. Dunn and Riddle in that ring, just wow, man. They had the chemistry rocking from the very beginning, and not once did they let up. The action was literally back to back, move for move, same page throughout. You very rarely get that in tag teams that have been together for 10, 15 years. That type of back-to-back chemistry. However, you had it last night with Riddle and Dunn as if they've been a tag team forever. That was so awesome to see. The match itself was beyond good, and it went over 20 minutes long. So you give 20 minutes to Andrews, Webster, Dunn, and Riddle, you're probably going to get a freaking classic. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it was beyond good for sure. The finish saw Andrews attempt a shooting star press, but on his way down, he got a devastating right hook from Pete Dunne. Please, close your eyes for a second and picture this. A shooting star, and on the landing, Dunne hits him with a right hook. What? It was freaking amazing. What an awesome spot that was. Off of the shooting star, man. For Andrews to believe in Dunn enough to pull that off, and for Dunn to hit the timing like he did, just a thing of beautiful. Just a beautiful masterpiece, man. I need a fucking sip of coffee, but I'll wait till the end of the first, as if I need any more coffee, right? I can't tell you how just good this match was. So again, Dunn hits him off of the shooting star press with the right hook, and as if that wasn't enough to do the job, just pin the dude, he tags in Riddle, Riddle comes in, knee to face type action, right? Was it a knee to face? Yeah, he hit him with the knee, and that was it. Riddle gets the cover 1, 2, 3, but honestly, the right hook off of the shooting star probably would have done the job, but that just shows you how they were just rolling on all cylinders. The chemistry between Dunn and Riddle, they were just like, let's just have some fun. Let's just keep tagging and rocking this joint. And that's what they did last night. Can't tell you how awesome it was to see these two together. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of them in the future in this tournament. So that was, man, I got pumped up for that one, didn't I, man? Man, there were so many times in NXT's programming last night where I was just like, I love this shit. I love pro wrestling, man. You know, I love shows that can make me say that 3 or 4 times. This NXT show made me do that. Next up, Tomasso Ciampa, as I promised you earlier. You didn't see the last of him? Well, he was right back out there, middle of the ring with a mic in his hand, and he had some strong words for Adam Cole. Now, right on cue, just like earlier in the night, Undisputed Era was not having it. Keith Lee mentioned them, they came out and took out Lee. Tommaso mentions them, Undisputed Era comes out and takes care of Tommaso with the quickness. Now, Keith Lee couldn't help Tommaso because he was already injured earlier. So who's going to make the save for Tommaso? Who? I got one for you. Teacher, I got my hand up. Johnny Gargano, baby. Johnny Wrestling comes out to make the save, and automatically we got a reunion that was long overdue. Tommaso. Johnny Wrestling. DIY chants galore, baby. The whole crowd yelling DIY. I'm at home thinking, DIY, baby, yes! Finally, we get that reunion. Now, I know it's probably a little short-lived. Maybe they'll do a little tag action. It's not what they once were. But still, to see them in the ring together, I always talk chemistry with you guys. It don't get better than Johnny Gargano and Tommaso. And to see them in the ring, and they cleared house. Johnny Gargano cleared house, Undisputed Era once again, just like earlier in the night, when Tommaso made the save on Keith Lee. Undisputed Era twice in one night, they retreat. But no harm, no foul. They don't lose any brownie points. Undisputed Era picked their timing. They did the job on Keith Lee. They did the job on Tommaso. And they retreated on their own accord, it looked like. Well, Johnny Wrestling kind of sent them away. But Undisputed Era looked like, all right, we could come back and take care of you. 4-on-2. But we're going to pick our timing just like we always do. That's why we have all the championships. So I like that, man. That's how you build up these type of heels. But it was so good to see Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in there again. Now, our number one comes to an end with another round one matchup in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament. This was the grizzled young veterans taking on Alex Shelley and Kushida. We talk about a reunion for DIY. Well, how about a reunion for Alex Shelley and Kushida? Because they have a lot of history together. So you honestly thought this was going to be a breeze match. Obviously some fun. They'll give them at least 10 minutes. But Shelley and Kushida are obviously going to win this match. First of all, before I do get to the finish, can I just say that there was no way that this tag team match was going to beat Andrews, Webster, Dunn, and Riddle. We all know that. There was no way this tag match was going to beat that. However, I'll be damned if these 4 participants didn't go out there and bust their asses to do such, because they did. And this match, move for move, was 10 times better than I could have imagined. Just like Andrews and Webster, if you didn't know who the grizzled young vets were going into this, after this match, they were on your radar, and you knew exactly who they were, and you will know who they are going forward. Awesome showing by the grizzled young vets. How awesome? They actually put the shock victory and got the win over Kushida and Shelley. I'm not making that up. In fact, Shelley ate the loss here. He took the pin. But the grizzled young veterans won this match. Now, obviously, most likely that is just to set them up for a loss in the second round. But, nonetheless, I say they're on your radar. That's never more evident than a victory over Kushida and Shelley. This is huge. This was a reunion of sorts with Shelley and Kushida, and they couldn't even get past the first round. We thought they were going to go deep into this tournament. We had high expectations. They couldn't get out of the gate. Awesome showing by the grizzled young vets. And that was the entire first hour of NXT. It revolved around 2 main storylines, Tomasso and Undisputed Era, and the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament. So, just 2 things that revolved around, and in the first hour, you were just captivated. You had it all. You had everything you could possibly want in a wrestling show. I'm not even a fan of tag team wrestling anymore because Vince McMahon has ruined tag team wrestling for me. I used to love it. Back in the Demolition Legion of Doom / Road Warriors, the Rockers. Give me the Oriental Express. I used to love it. Vince McMahon has ruined my love for tag team wrestling. However, after seeing this first hour of NXT last night and those 2 tag team matches, at least for one night, I was loving tag team wrestling again. But that wasn't it. If you thought the action was going to kind of tone down after that in hour number 2, you got another thing coming. We got a lot more to talk about. Let me get a sip of coffee, and we'll do such. Alright, so right from the jump, hour number 2, we start off with some footage from earlier in the day from Robert Stone, representing the Robert Stone brand. And he says he's pulling his client Chelsea Green from the Battle Royal later in the night. And the reasoning that Stone gives is because he feels there's too many females in that match that are going to try to steal the spotlight from Chelsea Green. I love this. Do you realize that when you invest like that into someone, that is how you create a superstar? Literally, before our eyes, she doesn't even have to wrestle a match right now. Chelsea Green is becoming a star. Do you guys realize that? That is how you do it. You invest the time. And if you do it accurately, like this, I'm loving this Stone Chelsea Green connection here. And this whole brand, the Robert Stone brand. I'm loving this. And Chelsea Green is going to be a household name within the next 6 months. I'm telling you right now. Fans that don't really know anything about her, within 6 months, if they keep this going like that, Chelsea Green's a star. Possibly even within 6 months, a superstar. I love it, guys. I really do. Keep it rocking. First match of the second hour is Isaiah Swerve Scott, Tyler Breeze, and Lio Rush. This is a triple threat match to decide who goes to Worlds Collide to take on Angel Garza and 2 representatives from the NXT UK brand. There's no countouts and no DQs in this match, so it's straight up pinfall or submission. And we're thinking this is going to be damn good. And guess what? It was damn good. This match was a move or 2 away from being great. Legit, this had the potential to be a great match. But as much as we all love Tyler Breeze, if I'm being factual with you guys, which is the only way I can be, the truth is, if you took out Breeze in this triple threat and you put somebody in there, you replaced Breeze with somebody who can actually hang move for move with Swerve and Rush, this would have been a great match. And again, that's not shade to Tyler Breeze. It's just saying, I mean, anybody with any type of logic and common sense, anybody that's being real with you, will tell you that Tyler Breeze cannot hang move for move with the style of wrestling that Swerve and Rush present. So that's why this was just a move or 2 away, I feel, from what could have been a great match. But Breeze held his own in there, and the match was damn good, as I aforementioned. Swerve gets the ultimate W over Breeze. I believe that was with the JML driver. I believe that sealed the deal. And Swerve is going on to Worlds Collide. 2 representatives from UK and Angel Garza. Championship on the line. So huge. This is the biggest moment for Swerve easily. When Swerve first arrived on the scene, wasn't too sure about him. It's one of those situations where as the weeks go on, I seem to say this about so many NXT talents, as weeks go on, they make a believer out of me. This is going to be Swerve's biggest match, I feel, today. I really do. And he's had a couple of big ones in his young career already. But this is the one, guys. Young career in NXT, anyway. You don't know how hard these guys fight to get to where they are today. They have careers before their careers. So I don't like to say young careers sometimes, because some people have been battling for years beforehand just to get to the NXT brand. Or brands as such. So I don't want to do them an injustice. But anyway, to wrap up that whole segment, guys, again, move or 2 away from being great. Another solid match on NXT. It's NXT. Are you truly shocked? This leads us into the main event. This was a women's battle royal to face Rhea Ripley. This is a #1 contender next week. Rhea Ripley. Who's going to take her on for the championship? Anybody has a chance here, literally. When all these females are in that battle royal, you're looking at the screen and you're thinking, any one of them, okay, maybe 5 or 6 of them, you know damn well they're not going to give a chance to. But so many of them, you didn't know which way they were going to go. You truly did not. And that's what was really cool. I took a moment to really think, hey, this is pretty cool. I don't know what's going to happen. And I love that. This was just an awesome showcase by all of the NXT female roster. As I've said about 100 times in this video, Shayna Baszler is a surprise entrant into this match because we all know she got called up, guys. She's going to be in the Rumble, and she's probably going to win this thing unless they decide last second to have Ronda Rousey win it. I would look for Shayna Baszler. I would love Sasha Banks to win it, but Vince McMahon would never allow Sasha Banks to win this thing. So look to have Shayna Baszler win the Royal Rumble. So this is like a little tune-up for her. Especially her losing last night. That pretty much cements the fact that she'll be in the Royal Rumble. But Shayna Baszler being a surprise entrant was really cool here. It was a legit surprise. Perhaps only more surprising was the fact that little Shotzi Blackheart ended up eliminating Shayna Baszler. Talk about shocking. You talk about awesome. Shotzi Blackheart had a moment in that Battle Royal for herself and for all of us. Now, the last 2 were Bianca Belair and Io Shirai. This could have, again, went either way. We didn't know which way that Triple H was going to go here. But they ended up going, and it ended up going Belair's way with an awesome elimination from Io Shirai, or to Io Shirai, literally launching Io. If you're going to eliminate Io, that's going to be depressing for a lot of people because a lot of people were pulling for her. But if you're going to eliminate her and you launch her like that, that's a way to go. That's a double thumb up situation. And Bianca Belair gets the spotlight once again. I love this. The first time when she took on Shayna Baszler, I was one of the only ones that said she's not quite ready. She still went in there and delivered, but it could have been even better. Belair was not quite ready in that match with Shayna Baszler at TakeOver. However, now you're going to see even better, a more defined, refined Bianca Belair. Trust me. Now, I don't expect Belair to win this match, guys. And anybody who's a huge Belair fan, don't get your hopes up. But this is a huge spot for her. When people started to think she was going back to the beginning of the pecking order, all the way back to the beginning of the line, no. Here she is finding herself into another title match. Trust me, this is only going to work better for her. And as far as Io Shirai, I like this because this shows you that, hopefully anyway, they have something bigger and better planned for Io. Possibly even a title reign in the future. If she does not go back to Japan, and they honestly give her a contract and a placement in that company that she is happy about, I look for great things for Io. If Io is just going to win this match and then lose the championship match in a week, I wouldn't want to see that, man. For Bianca Belair, it's much more suited for her, again, because of where she was headed trajectory-wise. Now Bianca Belair is thrusted into a championship match. The spotlight once again. But for Io, she has not gotten half of what she deserves in that. And I hate the word deserves, trust me. But we thought Io would have accomplished so much more thus far. And she hasn't really. So her losing this, I'm not concerned. Because her time hopefully is coming soon. And when it does, it is going to be epic. I see a championship in her future. If she leaves NXT and goes back to Japan without any title reigns, I can't possibly tell you how many times I'm going to put my dome piece through a brick wall. Because that's just nonsensical. It's Io Shirai. Quite possibly one of, if not the best female wrestler in the world. What has she really accomplished? Big time matches, always excites people, captivates. But in the history books, when it's next to your trophies and your titles and all the adulation that you received, what's actually going to be written? What did you win? What did you accomplish? Winning the Battle Royal and losing next week was not going to sit well with so many. Bianca gets this spot. Io's time is hopefully on the horizon. I'm hoping. It better be. They can't let Io Shirai go. I know Japan wants Io and Kairi. They have to do everything in their beings to not only keep them, but make sure that they're happy. Make sure that talents like Kairi and Io are being treated like the talents they are. Greatness. Because that's what they are. All this talk about Tessa Blanchard. She's the best in the world at this and that and everything. She's the best female wrestler. She's the best wrestler overall, including with the men. No, Io Shirai will run some circles around that ass. Anyway, I'm the Amplified Man, and that was NXT for 1/15/2020. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know so many times during this show, I was batshit crazy off the wall, man. I love this. I really do. And even tag team wrestling that's been dead for me for so long because of Vince McMahon, man, that was restored in me last night. I just love it. It's one of those shows where top to bottom, you're just so happy and proud to be a pro wrestling fan. That's what NXT produced. What did AEW produce? We're going to talk about that in just a few hours, so make sure you check back on the channel. You really should be subscribed and notified, and we'll tell you when the video is up, right when it comes out. But AEW's review, that'll be up in just a few hours, guys. Thanks for joining me for now. I'm going to totally re-up on some double fisting on some coffee. re-energize, refocus, as if I need any more coffee. But I'm going to hit you guys with the AEW review next. That's coming up a little bit later. The Amplified Man. Thank you to all the boys and gals last night from NXT for putting on that awesome show, man. They rocked it out. Can't wait till next week. For now, check you later.